Thank you for watching this edition of the Apocalypse Reports. My name is Robert King. If you're one of Jehovah's Witnesses, you quite likely know the history of the organization and that Jehovah's Witnesses were victims of persecution in the United States back particularly in the 1930s and during the Second World War. Our children were expelled from school because they wouldn't say the Pledge of Allegiance, and Jehovah's Witnesses were mobbed by crazed Catholics and others. In many instances, though, the Watchtower Society sought legal recourse, and the Supreme Court even, in fact, ruled in favor of Jehovah's Witnesses on quite a number of cases, establishing legal precedents. But it appears that that is all about to change. A new law was signed into effect just a couple of days ago, the beginning of the year actually, called the National Defense Authorization Act. Basically, it's a bill that funds the military for various operations. But it also, and this is what has alarmed patriots, it's also allowed the military to arrest whoever, wherever, and hold them indefinitely without trial, without charges even being leveled against them. Now, the authors of this bill originally wrote an exemption for Americans, but the president demanded that that be removed. And even though he said he would not pass it into law, he did that very thing. So this allows the military, which it was totally illegal. The act over 100 years ago, Posse Comitatus prevented the American military from any operations on American soil. But now the military has authorization. They can come and nab you, take you from your home, no arrest warrant, no charges leveled. They can extradite you to Guantanamo or some third world country. You'd never be seen or heard from again. And of course, Obama said he would never allow that to happen to an American. And that's probably the case, the way things are now. But what happens in a case of an emergency, a national emergency, in the case of war, in the case of economic collapse? Then what? Don't you think Jehovah's Witnesses will be considered enemies of the state? Absolutely. So another troubling development, shortly after 9/11, the government issued a contract. It was taken up by the engineering company in Houston called Halliburton. And they were awarded this contract of millions of dollars, I forget how much, but to build various detention camps around the United States. Apparently, there are camps in every state sitting there empty. The purpose, and this is not a conspiracy thing. I mean, this was reported in the Houston Chronicle because Halliburton was a Houston company. And but you don't hear the mainstream press talking about this at all. But apparently these camps have been constructed. They're sitting there empty. The reason for these camps was supposedly in case the United States is overrun by aliens. Aliens from another planet, I guess. I don't know. But just recently, the rumor is, or it's on the government's website, they have released allowing companies to bid upon staffing these camps that don't exist. So there you have it. They're preparing for, of course, martial law. Everybody pretty much knows that World War III is on the horizon. An attack on Iran will escalate. China and Russia will be involved. And even if they don't attack Iran, the economic system is going to collapse. The Eurozone is going to blow. People know these things, so they're preparing to shut the United States down. And my friends, Jehovah's Witnesses will bear the brunt of this, I'm sure. Because, let's face it, the devil knows who Jehovah's servants are. What's Revelation, the 12th chapter, say? When the devil is thrown down, he goes off to wage war against the remaining ones of her seed who have the work of bearing witness to Jesus. And that's what Jehovah's Witnesses have been doing, preaching about the kingdom. So it is troubling. It is a worrisome situation, but Jehovah has been preparing us for this day, and it's going to be a test of our faith. Jehovah's Witnesses stood up fairly well to Hitler. They went off to the concentration camps. Some died, and most came home, though. So that's what we're coming up against. And it's my duty as a watchman to point these things out. So are you ready for the day of tyranny? That's what the Bible calls it, the day of Jehovah, where he allows the devil to have a go at us. And it appears that that day is almost upon us.